Now, a Wednesday night game that features two teams that are playing the bottom ends of their roster, and yet the Whitecaps still look like a pretty formidable side, with Paolo Tornaghi in goal, invited to camp and potentially returning to the team after being released at the end of the year. But this open door policy, this let's stay in touch policy that Carl Robinson has instituted with his club may have paid off in the right guy sticking around. His back four: Jordan Smith, Tim Parker, Pamo Duka, and Jordan.
Equipment men, the physios, the players all circled. Marco Bustos in the middle, wagging his finger, giving them the what for, lining them up. Pamaduka arm around him when he's finished, saying, "Well done, son." Giving him some responsibility, saying, "You're not just a footballer on this team. Be a voice, be a man out there, and get your business done."
Well, you remember 2 years ago in this tournament, the Whitecaps played San Jose, and it was a young Marco Bustos who came on, and really it looked as though he was in a different gear at that time.
He came on at halftime, and the interesting thing was the residency teams played in Portland on the Saturday. And he was supposed to actually be heading home with them, and it was Keon's Froze that was coming into play, got hurt in the game. Marcos Bustos came in. I thought he acquitted himself very well that night for his first time out ever with the team. And that was the first time I ever really saw in him, Peter, an urgency in his game to get around the park, an urgency to get on the ball and play defensively.
It's the Timbers all in green with the white and yellow trim to kick off, and they're attacking the goal to our right, the Multnomah Fitness Club end. They're defending section 107. Whitecaps all in white with the deep sea blue trim. Jake Gleason in black to our left. Paolo Tornaghi in purple to our right. If you want to watch the game as well as listen to us on TSN 1040, www.whitecapsfc.com. And we are underway with Jack Dewsbury. Talked about how critical he was to this Portland Timbers team last year, filling in for injured Diego Chara at times. And Will Johnson, of course, as Tim Parker heads the ball neatly into Keon's Froze. Clean touch back to the now second-year Whitecap before playing it out to Jordan Smith, who floats it over the top to Kakutamani. A little flick through and a charging run up front by Blas Perez. He almost caught his man in possession, but the Portland fullback does come up with it and plays it up the line and in touch for a deflected Portland Timbers throw.
Nice little flick on Taylor Pay, doing well actually to get away from Blas Perez. I thought he was going to get in behind him there.
Manning plays it across to Zarek Valentin, who was picked up just before the season started. Over to Andy Toma, and up aside it goes to Ben Polk, who's quite a story. Traveled all around the world with his parents, Saudi Arabia and then Great Britain, and then into the MLS draft at number 20 as Pamo Duka gets his first touch of the match. He'll slip it along the deck neatly for Kakutamani, who got 78 minutes on Sunday afternoon. Ka then spins the ball into Perez. Nice little flick, beautifully done for Bustos, who leaves it for Perez. Tried to give it back to Bustos, but he just couldn't get a foot in. Dewsbury helps it on to Ned Grabavoy, who takes turns, slips it out to Jack McInerney. Down this right flank into Whitecap territory, 20 yards up. Pa looks him off, holds him in tight stead, and it's McInerney then with a short ball. Appeals for offside, not given. Nico Brett sends it into the penalty area, and then it's headed off and out by Jordan Harvey for a Portland throw about 10 yards up from the near side corner flag.
And we'll keep our eye on that Whitecaps midfield with Morales and Keon's Froze in particular, both playing in that holding role. They'll play off of each other, one of them getting forward, but both a more natural 8 or 10, so it'll be interesting to see which one can defend here tonight.
It's Pedro Morales harassing away and tipping the ball off and out for a Portland throw. Taylor Pay will have the throw in right in front of Carl Robinson, who didn't think it was a Portland throw. The Timbers get another one, And it's quickly taken by Ben Zemanski. Back to Pay. Closed down by Blas Perez. Off the chest of Kukutamane. Back to Pay. Slips past Perez into Whitecap territory. Taylor Pay to the outside of Harvey. Top of the area. Right through Grabavoy. Out the other side for Andy Toma. Toma 1v1 with Davies as Davies slides to ground, but Toma maintains possession to the byline, sends it in. Tim Parker coolly away, right-footed straight up in the air. And then it's Davies again, who will see it go across the goal mouth. Tornaghi left it and picked up by Brett. A little bit of pressure early here by the Timbers. Right-footed ball off Harvey and out. First corner of the match goes to the Timbers in minute 3 in the quadrant to our right.
2 good crosses from Andy Toma down that left-hand side. In fact, both of the fullbacks tonight for the Portland Timbers coming from the University of Washington. Taylor Pay in 2014 and of course in 2015 Andy Toma. Both quick players, can get down that byline, so they'll give Kukutamane and young Alphonso Davies a run for their money going forward as well.
A couple of dogs in this Portland team, and the corner taken by Jack Jewsbury. Right-footed delivery, forthcoming, high, floating it, back post. Keans Froze pushed in the back, no foul. Whitecaps hook it away into midfield though, and get away with it. Toma, last man back, will play it wide to Zemanski. He'll step up and whip it into the edge of the area. A little layoff, but it falls right to Kukutamane with happy little feet to get through midfield and the circle. Wide right, Davies. Alphonso Davies, the 15-year-old, infield for Morales, steers it back to Jordan Smith. And Smith will play it into the feet neatly of Marco Bustos. He chips it forward. Beautifully done. Flag stays down. Hammering left-footed volley goes wide, but not a bad effort from Kukutamane. Little pat of the hand from Blas Perez. And a goal kick to our left for Jake Gleason here in the 5th minute.
Yeah, training ground stuff from Kukutamane there. Nice touch, good hit, confident looking, but it was the little flick through from Bustos as well. Very confident touch from young Marco there to get it into his mate Kukutamane.
Now Pay's clearance, long and deep, and into the feet of Paolo Tornaghi, the Italian, who of course saw some of his old teammates and staff here, very few, mind you, from the Chicago Fire who are in town for this tournament. Davies takes, slips it into the feet of Bustos, turns, whips it over to the near side for Jordan Harvey, just into Portland territory, and right below us. Then to Mane, back to Keans Froze. And Froze, who was lethal in the finishing drill at the end of training yesterday, finds Parker and then up the line for Jordan Smith. Smith looking for an outlet. Gets it in early beautifully to Perez. First touch was decent, but it just rolled away from him. Zarek Valentin will thump a right-footed ball into Whitecap territory. Last man back is Pamo Duka in acres of space to slip it along the ground for Froze. Closed down by Grabavoy. Then back to Ka. We are simulcasting on the stream, if you're wondering. TSN 1040 in Vancouver. And on www.whitecapsfc.com. Pay with a clearing header into midfield. Falls to Perez. Got nudged aside. No foul. And Super Raton is still down on the ground. But Tim Parker wins the ball a day after his 23rd and champagne birthday. He knocks it off and out for a Portland throw.
Good work by Timmy Parker to get involved there. Thought he might have just a little more composed, kept the ball there. Bustos with another good touch, and Pedro Morales off to a flying start here.
And he finds Blas Perez with a nice ball. Morales tried to scoop it away. It was just behind his left foot. Ned Grabavoy closed down by Froze, who did some good hunting, forces the ball back to Toma. He'll go back to his goalkeeper, Gleason, the Kiwi, a 25-year-old. Did play for the U20, the U17 squad in South Korea in his earlier days. Also has 8 full caps, the Portland goalkeeper. And now it's Toma on the left touchline as he chips it left-footed towards Tim Parker, who's going to easily win that race past McInerney. Has time to take a touch and blasts it straight up the middle, headed back by Jewsbury. Second touch, one in midfield by Grabavoy, but now it's Pamo Duka. Right up the middle for the Whitecaps, looking for options left and right, and chooses Jordan Harvey coming up out of the back. Harvey. Then back to Ka, who scored the game winner against the Timbers in the opener of this tournament last year on his return. Not much of a celebration, but it was a start of a good year for Pamo Duka. Davies got a little lucky that the ball stayed with him. Then he tried to get cheekily past Zemanski, but it's Grabavoy who quickly plays it down the left for Polk. He puts it backwards to Toma, infield for Grabavoy, and then for Jewsbury.
Interesting, Zemanski didn't go into that tackle there. 50-50 with the youngster. Zemanski probably still just feeling his way back.
Can't blame him, really.
Nope.
An unimposed injury in that game as Pay, I beg your pardon, plays it all the way off and past Davies and out for a Whitecap throw now 25 yards on the opposite touchline with Jordan Smith set to take.
Only 8 minutes in, but already a little bit sharper than the other night. You can see that from the Whitecaps. The balls from the back four. Pamadukas had a couple of very clever balls that snuck through 3 or 4 players into either Marco Bustos or Perez up front. They'll be looking for that sharpness, and he also, Peter, will bring a voice tonight. He'll bring some reason and keep them moving, keep them pressuring. Pamadukas will lead in that way for sure.
Well, the spotlight has to be shining brightest on Pedro Morales, though. We've seen him play in Voyageurs Cup games where he's the veteran in a young side. He needs to ask for the ball, he needs to support the ball, and he needs to have a better game than he did the other night when he coughed up early and allowed Chicago to score. And already he does look sharp, but there are many defensive responsibilities associated with the position he's playing right now. As Jordan Smith wins a header into touch, it's a Portland throw. Timber Joey firing up the chainsaw for the first time this evening. And the Whitecaps will not want to hear that too often, as Zarek Valentin, another Akron Zip, reuniting with Caleb Porter. Back to Gleason, and the Portland goalkeeper in possession again. We're in the 9th minute and scoreless at one of the fine soccer stadiums and maybe sports venues in all of North America, opening up the Post-to-Post bar this off-season in honor of the wonderful and folkloric penalty that hit both goalposts in the game against Kansas City. Nice take and turn by Keans Froese. And then for Pedro Morales, who will carry before slipping it across to Jordan Harvey. He cuts inside on Brett, the Jamaican, and then Pedro back to Tim Parker as the Whitecaps try to get a foothold a little bit here as we approach the double-digit mark on the clock. Ka, Harvey, and back to Ka.
Good ball.
Nice ball that forced Bustos to stretch out, but Bustos stayed with it, and that's a neat little infield ball from Bustos again, and the Whitecaps win the first free kick of the game. As Keans Froese looks like he wanted to take it quickly, Ka will step up and simmer things down. Plenty of options with Perez ahead of him, Pedro Morales to his right, and instead he chooses Harvey on the left. Beautiful give and go between Harvey and Mane. Infield, Perez, great ball back to Marco Bustos. He leaves it for Harvey, who cuts it back, and it was blocked away. Otherwise, Davies might have had his first preseason goal. Then back it goes to Mane, who's weaving through. Harvey went for a tumble. The ball is cleared off and out. Whitecaps firing a warning shot, though, and Davies, by the way, I think did score, or at least he set up Bustos.
Set up Bustos,
yeah.
Not, but Blas Perez having a little bit of a go at Davies here, saying you have to leave that go. He was in behind him, wide open, much better ball to just leave that into Perez's path.
Perez again tried a cheeky layoff at the edge of the penalty area. Ooh, and then in goes Pa to slide out over McInerney. And yeah, great angle of it on the stream just now, where had Davies dummied it, and I'm not sure how loud Blas Perez shouted him off.
He certainly shouted loud at him after the fact, but you're in that space, you're running in, it's a good run by Davies. He's going to hit it with his left foot. I don't think he saw Perez in behind him, but nonetheless, good combination, good movement from the Whitecaps, and in particular Jordan Harvey there to get forward.
And we've seen Blas Perez get involved back to goal, little flicks at the edge of the box, goal kick at the other end meanwhile as we do reach the 11th minute. And had Davies played the dummy there, it would have probably been a tap, and he did get a shot that was blocked in the end though, the youngster, and does not look overawed by the occasion at the moment. It's actually a perfect atmosphere. There's enough fans here to make it real, but not the usual MLS crowd that's really like a wall over on that side with smoke and flags and all the rest of it. And there'll be even more of that this year. There's also future talk of expanding the stadium behind Paulo Tornaghi as Blas Perez is felled in midfield, has an incredulous look up at Manning, and the Whitecaps will have a free kick just inside Portland territory.
And it is different at Providence Park this year, a little harder getting in yesterday into the park. You see the garbage cans with "We Are the Champions" right on the garbage cans. Of course, they are going to stick it in the face of fans, or in face of fellow supporters from other teams as much as they can here.
Davies being chased down by Polk, but finds Pedro Morales in a little spot of space, and there's where Pedro can operate as he plays it out towards Harvey, who really thumped over Taylor.
It was Nico Brett.
No, Brett, I beg your pardon, that's
yeah.
right.
The work rate of Perez up front has been, it's early doors here, but it's been fantastic. And keep talking about what he's going to bring to the team this year, Peter. He'll start some games for sure. He'll a lot of times, I think, come off the bench and add a different look or a different spark, but you have to love his attitude and the work rate that he's got early in the preseason here.
Yeah, and he would have had a shortened preseason because he was sort of up in the air as to where he was, and now he's racing around all over the park. But the ball is now wide left, and Portland in possession with Ben Zimanski, infield for Ned Grabavoy. All those years in the midfield, sometimes in a supporting role at Real Salt Lake, but a real plug-and-play MLS pro. And then Brett was dispossessed. Kian's Froze mops up, finds Bustos, little touch backwards for Mane, and then back for Froze.
That's interesting with Grabavoy because he can, in one of the best midfields in the league is Portland. There's no doubt about that. He's a man that can step in when there's an injury there or a couple of games, midweek. He can step in, and I don't think they'll miss a beat, Pete, putting him in for a Chara, for an Agby, for a Valeri even. He has that much experience and come in and help the team.
Davies, nice ball, Perez, little layoff for Bustos in the circle. Marco Bustos checks both shoulders before firing out wide left for Jordan Harvey. Harvey looking infield, picks out Froze, and then back to Ka, and then into Pedro Morales. Quickly to Froze, neatly done. Through to Bustos, another quick little interchange. Ball bounces back to Mane and just past Dewsbury before Valentin lifts it into midfield. But there's Kian's Froze to win it right back to Morales. Last man back is Parker, quickly back to the skipper. And Morales will float a ball in towards Perez, headed away by Manning. Mane with a little touch, and then picked up by Dewsbury and quickly out to Pay. He races up the near side touchline before neatly picking out his teammate. Then it's given away in the middle of the park, and here's where Marco Bustos can run at the back four. He's got Davies to his right. That's where the ball goes. Perez straight up the middle. Overlapping is Jordan Smith. Davies, Bustos, Smith wide. Forward to Perez, back to Morales. And Morales didn't like what he saw, slows the tempo, and picks out Smith wide right. The Costa Rican into Davies, and then all the way back to Tim Parker. A nice little spell of possession, though, by the Whitecaps.
And it's sharp, it's crisp, it's being moved 1 and 2 touches. There's 3 or 4 from Kian's as I say that. Still gets it away, and it's nice and sharp.
Good turn by Perez, pulled down, and a great free kick opportunity. This is Pedro Morales territory, 8 or 9 yards outside the box. Slight angle to the right. Pedro really came on in this department at the end of last year, but this is almost Sporting Kansas City-like, this location. And on that day away, even though they lost, he found his range. It'll be a 4-man wall as the Timbers Army boo to our left here in the 15th minute. Quarter of an hour gone. Timbers 0, Whitecaps 0.
Just another night for Blas Perez, isn't it? Showing the replay there. Didn't think it was a foul against him. And you're right, Peter, this is a perfect distance for Pedro Morales. I will say the keeper is 6'4", big lad, should be able to get across from this distance, but it will be Pedro Morales. Even though Bustos is hanging around it, it'll be Morales to hit it.
A couple of Chileans standing off the ball. Here comes Morales, steps up, rips it right at the wall. Bustos reels in the rebound before playing in Froze. And fans will hope Pedro gets those out of the way early. Nice ball out wide left to Tim Parker, who stayed forward. Parker will evade his man and go all the way back to his center half partner, Ka, and he'll switch play to the far side for Jordan Smith. Smith in the orange boots has Pedro short, but he'll switch play all the way across the park. Is that going to stay in play? It's off the chest of Mane, but he was behind the touchline, so an effortless ball stroked about 60 yards across the field, but Mane couldn't keep it in.
Not really needed either. You had Alphonso Davies on the right side there. I think Jordan Smith should play an easy ball in, get the youngster some touches, but keep the ball moving. They don't need that long ball from fullback all the way to the left winger unless he's completely wide open.
Morales square to Froze. Looking comfortable so far as partners, but Froze's ball was picked off by Dewsbury. He goes infield to Zimanski. Early ball to Grabavoy, who skips away. Nice ball through to McInerney. McInerney was dispossessed. Looked like a handball. Referee says play on. Whitecaps come back, and it's the combination of Froze and Morales who win the ball back. And now it's Perez neatly. Morales, does he have anybody ahead of him? No, just Davies to his right, and that's where the ball goes. Davies watched closely by Toma as Davies running at Toma. Infield, little layoff behind Perez, and Manning will poke it ahead to Zimanski, who will take turn and start the Timbers away.
You know, when we've seen Perez in the past, Peter, it's always been as that villain, as a big lad up front. He is very good with his back to goal. That first time pass in has opened up Pedro Morales or Kian's Froze about half a dozen times already in this game. Fantastic play with his back to goal.
It's a very technical game to start, that's for sure. Ball's being zipped around. Through ball for McInerney. Flag goes up for offside. That's the first decision of its kind in this game. It comes in the 18th minute, still looking for our first goal. The Whitecaps getting on with it quickly through Froze. To his right for Morales. And then straight ahead for Davies, who takes, turns, finds Bustos quickly back out wide. And it's Jordan Smith. Morales and Smith go back and forth into Portland territory. 30 yards up, Smith surrounded by green jerseys, but does play it back to Morales, who pokes it wide to Davies, who was covering, and then back to Tim Parker. Jordan Harvey in acres of space below us, looking for a potential switch here, but Parker's going to go back to Paolo Tornaghi, who's been the best spectator so far. And now it's Pamoduka, left-footed ball into Mane, a little layoff that was picked off, and now away goes Jack McInerney into the Whitecaps penalty area. Tried a shot that goes 18, 19, 20 yards wide of the far post, and it's a goal kick to our right, but a little miscue there by the men in blue and white.
Yeah, and it was crisp until that point. Kakutamani a little bit casual on that, and that's where the young players have to concentrate, Peter. They have to keep themselves in the game and make sure they don't give that up like that. Easy run in for McInerney.
Well, and Pedro Morales wants the ball every single time it's in a goal kick situation, and that's kind of what costs him against Chicago. He just got one there, and now it's Alphonso Davies racing down the right flank, holds up, lays off, back to Marco Bustos. Bustos dancing, chips it, nice looking ball, looking for Morales. It falls right to Pedro, left-footed, a right-footed shot that stopped. Good save by Gleason, who dove to his left, as the volley by Morales did test the goalkeeper. There's the first shot on target for either side. And now away goes Brett. Crunching collision with Harvey, but the ball manages to get through for Ben Zemanski at the edge of the Whitecaps area. Right back to Brett. Now McInerney trying to shape up a shot. Parker with a little poke right to Morales, and now it breaks up for the Whitecaps the other way. Mane infield, poor ball. That forced Bustos to have to lunge in on Zemanski, the man who had the injury last year. The Whitecaps do get it back, and so far Ricardo Salazar has kept the whistle in the pocket for the majority of this half.
Yeah, I thought he could have given a foul there against Bustos. Good on him, just let it play. Ball fell to Portland. Having a little word with Bustos and letting the play go on is exactly the way it should be.
But Mane's touch wasn't the greatest, and that's where some of the crispness.
Second time.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a tough time with the one touches, and now it's Valentin for the Timbers in possession in their own end. We've played 20 minutes scoreless at Providence Park. Grabavoy shows before playing Pay. I beg your pardon, I'm going to get it right one of these days. P-E-A-Y is how it's spelled. It's definitely Pay. And now it's Grabavoy. And now Blas Perez got dumped again, but Portland carry on through Zemanski. Wide for Toma, infield for Zemanski. Another Akron zip.
You almost have to be a dog, University of Washington, or zip to be with
Pretty
Caleb Porter
much.
if you're out of university.
Well, it's a credit to both schools, really.
Yeah, there's some cracking. They're both cracking players here.
And Spencer Ritchie on the bench for the Whitecaps, another University of Washington Husky. It's across the penalty box from Parker to Pa, and then up the line for Jordan Harvey as he looks for a target. Rolls it ahead for Mane. He's just going to run, Kekuta Mane. Davies cuts across. It's short to Perez, neatly back to Froze. Morales wanted it in the circle, but it's Ka who plays it wide for Harvey. Infield, Bustos, who's been busy and has been on the ball a lot and has kept the touches pretty simple so far. Froze, and then for Parker.
Keon's also looking very comfortable on the ball. A lot of good touches and combinations between him and the skipper, Pedro Morales.
Well, ultimate compliment from Carl Robinson at training yesterday, saying that Keon Froze might be the best candidate to fill the number 8 role on this team right now, just with the tools that he has. Who will start alongside Matias Laba on March the 6th? That's going to be a big question. Of course, Laba is away in Argentina with his girlfriend, who has now had their first child. At least we were expecting the child on Monday. And Parker plays it up the line for Davies. I beg your pardon, that's Jordan Smith who sends it into the penalty area. Blas Perez fighting for it, got a little header down, but then picked up and into midfield it goes. Right back to Jordan Smith, and he'll poke it back to Tim Parker. And a minute 22, nearing the midway stages, the Whitecaps get possession back. Froze being watched by Grabavoy, so he turns in his own half of midfield. Parker will pick out Morales, and a nice one-touch ball for Keans Froze. Then for Perez, who's deep to accept, facing. Morales swings the ball near side for Jordan Harvey. Off the chest, through, and he does find Kekuta Mane neatly. Kekuta Mane trying to wriggle away, dancing by Taylor Pay. Back heel, finds Bustos, who can hit them from here. Bustos lines up Mane. Left-footed ball played in early and knocked away rather easily by Manning, off and out for a Whitecap throw halfway between the midfield stripe and the penalty area.
Again, it's the Caps that are really knocking the ball around well here, and it's that 1 and 2 touches again. Good combinations as well from Perez and Morales, just simple balls, and that's what you see a lot from experienced players. They'll pick the right time, Peter, to do something really special, but most of the game they're just getting it, giving it, moving, and keeping the ball moving themselves, creating space for others. It's been very, very good from the Caps so far.
And what that tells you is that it's not just a counter-attacking team. They've built up to good positions. Smith tried to play in ball in early as Morales floated one wide right, and it's over and out for a goal kick to our left, whereas oftentimes we've seen the Whitecaps and thought, are they only capable of scoring from a high press turnover and a counter? They've actually built the ball up from the back and created chances at the other end.
And I think as the season goes on, you'll see that even more and more when Bolaños is on the field more. Teixeira gets up to full fitness with players like that can keep the ball and find those little spaces to get in behind when other teams are sitting back on them.
Parker, a little header that's awkward but back, and McInerney steals, finds Polk, who got taken down with a late challenge by Pa. And not only is he called for the foul, but it's a yellow card at minute 24, much to the delight of the fans to our left, who used to back Pa Moduka. And now a free kick opportunity for the Timbers, really out of nothing almost. It was an awkward header back by Parker, and the Whitecaps couldn't maintain possession. So Ka is in the book, and it's a free kick about 5 yards outside the penalty box and just pushed over to that left flank.
And no matter how bad the foul, rarely do you see the player getting the yellow card saying, "Well done, ref, that's a good call." But Pa was honest on it. He knew he came sliding out late there. Hasn't had a lot of minutes himself, Peter. His timing's off just a little bit, particularly on that play, but it was a good run from the youngster Polk.
They don't really, well, they do have Cole Seiler on the bench, so that's somebody you could see come on. And
you could even see him come on in a defensive midfield role, playing a little bit there yesterday in the 11v11 in training.
Jack Dewsbury steps up, hits this one, and a good 6-7 yards over the crossbar, so a tame effort from Dewsbury. In minute 25, it's still Portland 0 and the Whitecaps 0 on TSN 1040, whitecapsfc.com. Peter Shad and David Norman, happy to have you from the always wonderful Rose City. And except for the exchange rate, there's really probably not a better place to be if you're a soccer fan, because of all the eateries and neat things to do in this town. It's just a wonderful, magical place, really. And we were talking about how the Timbers kind of reflect this community, and their fans especially, with their little quirks and idiosyncrasies, including this park, which has all its neat little nooks and crannies. And the Whitecaps in possession through Paolo Tornaghi. Finds the ball through to Morales. First time to Keans Froze. Takes it off the chest awkwardly, but then lost out to Dewsbury. Poked ahead for McInerney. Back to goal. Gave it away. Blas Perez to Pedro, and then into Marco Bustos. Bustos for Jordan Harvey, facing forward below us. Our location right above the midfield stripe. Through ball from Froze. Could not find Perez, and so Dewsbury is back, and then Pay will smash it into Whitecap territory. Ka takes it neatly off the chest, but then lost out to McInerney, who is facing forward, squares it up for Ned Grabavoy, moves it on quickly to Polk. Polk, 1v1 with Smith, into the box, trying to get to the outside. Smith, a little nudge, and then very coolly shepherds it off and out for a Whitecap goal kick here in minute 27.
Good defending by Jordan Smith there, one of the areas last year where he was questioned on, called out a little bit on. Had his feet in good position there, just shepherded Polk down that left-hand side, and he's so athletic, Peter. If he can get it right, his positioning right, there's very few people that are going to be able to run by him, whether it's inside or outside. That time doing a very good job holding Ben Polk off.
Paolo Tornaghi's right-footed goal kick deep into Portland territory, takes a bounce. Davies is going to keep running, but Szymanski, make that Valentine with a little flick backwards. And it's Jake Gleason who will lay it down for Valentine from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Only a 24-year-old. And a GA, high draft pick. Bounced around a little bit with a move in Montreal. Nice hurdle by Blas Perez to get possession. Chip it back to Smith. And Smith will play it all the way back to Pamodu Ka on a yellow card. And Ka will zip it into the feet of Alphonso Davies from Edmonton, signed this week. How exciting for him as he picks out Harvey neatly before playing it back to Pedro Morales. Froze, forward to Mane. Nice give and go with Kian's Froze through to Bustos. Tried to get it back to Mane. The referee helped out. Mane was caught, no foul. And the referee says, because of my involvement, I'm going to just play the advantage here, play on. As Manning will take over for the Timbers. He's looked pretty steady so far.
He's looked good, yeah. He's comfortable on the ball. With Perez again, Peter, about half a dozen to 8 times the balls come into him with his back to goal. Right away, first time touch. Even if it's a simple 3 or 4 yard pass, it keeps the team moving, and Pedro in particular is getting on the end of a lot of those balls and able to get the ball in quickly after that.
Manning, another good ball, but that time Froze won it back fairly, and here comes Marco Bustos. As he tries to get past Dewsbury, he does, got pulled back, and another free kick opportunity. And this one is about 12 or so yards outside the box, straight down the middle, and quickly taken by Morales, who picks out Smith. First time ball deflected in. The Whitecaps have their first corner of the match here in minute number 29.
Good run by Marco Bustos through the middle. Gets his body on the right side of Szymanski. He had to bring him down or let him run through clear. As you said, a quick free kick. It's won the Whitecaps a corner. The captain will take it with his right foot, so an outswinger. Blas Perez absolutely running around all over the box trying to get away from the bigger Manning. Both big lads, actually.
Manning's certainly got Blas Perez as his mark. Ka's up there too. Remember, he
Tim
scored.
Parker as well.
And Tim
Very
Parker.
good on these situations.
Tim Parker will read the flight of the ball immediately as Morales hooks it high. It looks decent. Ka got a head on it. Not enough though. Bustos is there. He has to flick it backwards to Smith. Morales is still forward, but Smith will take it along the right touchline. Sends a right-footed ball top of the box, right to Davies, back to Perez. Right-footed volley that he lashed wide of the far post. And it's a goal kick in minute number 30. Half an hour gone and still scoreless at Providence Park. Gleason just calming things down for a moment. I thought that Ka was going to get on the end of that cross, much like he did last year against Portland in the opener. Now Dewsbury and Valentine. And back to the goalkeeper. Perez again chasing. Now Bustos racing over to try to put pressure on Valentine. He sends a long right-footed ball into Whitecaps territory. Parker climbing beautifully and heading the ball back into midfield. Picked up by Ben Szymanski. Slips it through for Polk. Little layoff for Dewsbury. Has to turn away from Davies before switching the ball across the park for Pay, but it's not going to reach Pay because Kakutamani was there and called for the handball. It's been tough for Kakutamani.
Concentration again, Peter. That has nothing to do with skill set, has nothing to do with technical ability. 2 bad balls in first time, and then that ball easily should have been brought down by Kakuta. He has to get not just his fitness levels up, but his concentration level up.
Yeah, he's about a couple of weeks behind everybody else.
Yes,
because
that's true.
of
We'll
the
give
ankle.
him that. We'll give him that.
But it gives Carl Robinson a bit of a built-in excuse to maybe not start Scooter in the game. Now away he goes straight up the middle.
And then he does that.
He'll go and he'll take on 9
like
guys.
Yeah,
Get Pedro Morales play it wide. He does. Finds Jordan Smith. Right-footed ball coming in. Again, the service not the greatest, and that's actually one of his strong suits, Smith. And it's then lashed back into Whitecap territory where Parker will steer it square. Froze and Harvey chasing after it. It's back to Ka, and he'll send it forward towards Kakutamani, who flicked it forward, but Perez was in an offside position. And so it's Jake Gleason, the Portland goalkeeper, who will bowl it for Manning, who is from Mesquite, Texas. He's a 23-year-old. A couple of St. Louis University grads on this team, including the veteran Jack Dewsbury. Valentine, Manning, in comes Mane to try to close down, but that's cool as a cucumber from the kid at the back. And now it's into Taylor Pay. He's up the near side touchline, racing past Carl Robinson and into Whitecap territory. Pokes it out wide for Nico Brett, the Jamaican. Holds up in the corner, back to Pay, and then back to Ned Grabavoy. 25 yards up, closed down by Perez. Pay, forward, Brett, 1v1 with Harvey. Infield for Grabavoy, turns, neatly done, into the penalty area. Dewsbury left-footed, he just put it over. I thought that was destined for the top corner, but it missed the top corner by a yard. And now it's a goal kick to our right, and in the meantime, Ned Grabavoy getting up slowly outside the Whitecap penalty area.
And by far the best combination for Portland Timbers here. It fell into Jack Jewsbury. You mentioned he scored a couple of key goals last year, and that's as good as a chance he's going to get. Nice turn, good combination between Brett on this right-hand side. It eventually gets into Grabavoy and then Jewsbury. So a lot of Portland players getting involved in that play. Unfortunately, Jewsbury for the Portland Timbers not able to finish it.
His left foot just let him down a little bit.
Yeah.
And here comes Keans Froese. He's driving forward, Keans, wearing number 38. Tried to slide it through to Bustos behind him. Pay wins it back. And then Brett plays it into the path of Zemanski. Zemanski looking for an outlet on that left-hand side, steers it back to Valentin for the Timbers. He looks straight ahead. Grabavoy looks okay as Jewsbury just had that chance. And now Grabavoy. Jewsbury rolled beautifully and was in the inside right channel, left-footed shot over the top, and it remains 0-0. And now Portland's going to get a corner thanks to the ball spinning off of Jordan Harvey, who was victimized a little bit on that combination down in the corner a moment ago. And now on the ground is Keans Froese.
Portland's just found their wind a little bit here, being able to get some combinations, as you mentioned, especially down this right-hand side here. And that is unfortunate to see as Keans Froese drove through a moment ago. He just got clipped near the end. Good tackle, though, on the ball by the Portland defender, but Keans went down. He got right back up and started running back. But obviously something amiss by him here.
Jordan Harvey having a little tactical discussion with Kekuta Mane there a minute ago. We'll wait and see what's wrong with Keans Froese as he remains down and being attended to by Jake Yoakum. And if the Whitecaps do have to make a substitution, they have Bolaños, Teixeira, Hudson, Rivero, and Chung. I don't see Cole Seiler.
Cole Seiler's there.
But I don't see him replacing Keans Froese. Well, actually, he could play a holding midfielder.
He did play in the
11
Parker
aside. Could.
11 aside yesterday. Cole Seiler was in that role. He is the one most rigorously warming up at this point.
Well, we could see his debut here in a moment. John Poley is running over to Carl Robinson and says he needs a minute or two, while Froese is hobbling off the field and coming over to chat with the manager. And
I think it's his ribs or his stomach area that he's holding, Peter.
Whitecaps down to 10 men as Jack Jewsbury sends a right-footed looping ball in, past everybody, bouncing around. It's McInerney quick to react, top of the box for Zemanski, now outside the box, back to Jack McInerney in the penalty area, to the byline, couldn't keep it in play, flag goes up, and it's a goal kick to our right. The Whitecaps escape a scare here in the 35th minute, 10 minutes until the interval, and did Keans Froese come back on? Or has he headed off the park, Dave?
I can't see him at all. I think he's certainly not back on the park. And he's not in and around the bench area there either.
The door to the dressing room is right below us, so we missed Keans Froese, unless he's down in the dugout. Doesn't look like it is.
It looked like maybe his ribs or something, Peter. Carl Robinson scratching his head there saying, what am I going to do in central midfield?
They're already a little bit short there right now.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Russell Tybert struggling with an injury. Davy Flores away with the Honduran international team. Whitecaps winning a free kick in the meantime, and they're playing with 10 men. Well, it's a good chance to play in this situation. That's part of what this tournament is for, different situations. They didn't like it having to play against Portmore in the first game down to 10 men, but they did learn something 3 years ago. And last year, Portland had to play with 9 in the end, as the Whitecaps won by 1-0. Long ball looking for Perez. Ball bounces nicely to Kekuta Mane. We know he can hit them from here. Mane getting to his left foot. Step over, still going into the box to the byline, and wins the Whitecaps a corner here in minute number 37. And it'll come on the quadrant to our left. And still no sign of any substitution or any activity with regards to Keans Froese going off.
And Kekuta just hobbling a little bit as well here. Maybe more out of tiredness after that long sprint and run with the ball.
Here comes the right-footed ball by Morales to the near post and cleared away by Jewsbury. Was Pedro going for it there? Now look out, the break is on for the Timbers. Grabavoy, McInerney switches, looking for Polk. He's going to have to race over. It was too heavy. The idea was good. and it wasn't executed. The Whitecaps will take their time, and now Kekuta Mane is bent over, and he's had the ankle problem, and he's trying to flex out that left ankle at the moment. That's what took him out of the second leg of that series after he had rung one off the post and looked like the Whitecaps' biggest threat.
Was that another break for the Portland Timbers in the season of fate on a great run at the end of the season and obviously into the playoffs?
Well, Jordan Harvey testing out Kekuta Mane's pace, and he got in and forces another corner because the goalkeeper Gleason hesitated, and Gleason now is hobbling a little bit in his goal mouth. So Gleason came, abandoned, and now again Kekuta Mane bent over. Kian Sfroze is back out of the dressing room and is going to get permission to come back into this game, and we'll see if that's going to happen before this corner is taken.
And the good news is he ran back from the dressing room to the halfway line here, looking every bit as fit as when he started the game. Again, it looked like in that midriff area in his ribs or something, but obviously Kian's fit and ready to go again.
And back on the park as Morales sends another right-footed near-post ball all the way through. Perez scores! Blas Perez! It ran through the little skip, the dance, and the bullhorns for the first time in Whitecap colors in minute 39 off a Pedro Morales corner. Perez unmarked in the inside right channel, stroking home and giving the Whitecaps a 1-0 lead.
And a couple of minutes ago, the Whitecaps with a corner from the same area, Pedro Morales smashing it in just a little bit too close to the goal. It was able to get cleared out, this time further away from the goal, Peter, and it was the pace on the pass, on the cross, that made the difference. Absolutely whipped in. Once it goes by one or two defenders, the others are startled, stunned, and it was Perez pulling off at the back stick, making some space for himself. Nice little left-footed finish. How many times has he done that in his career? We're seeing that with him. Experience is coming through with Blas Perez.
And doesn't matter if it's an exhibition game. He wants to score and he wants to win. He celebrated as if it was game number 36. As the ball is now at the feet of Manning. He floats it into midfield over the head of McInerney. Ka sends it through. And then it's Pedro Morales who stabs it forward. Credit to Kekuta Mane for winning that corner. Somebody got a flick too off of the cross from Morales before it reached Blas Perez. And I didn't quite catch it on the replay, but...
And it could have even been a Portland player. When it was whipped in that hard, Peter, it's very, very difficult to defend against when you've got Pamadou Ka, you've got Parker going to that near post where he likes to go to. It's the quality of ball in was very, very good.
Ball switched to the near side for Nico Brett, running at the Whitecaps back line, including Harvey. Pa got a little touch, and then an attempt to nutmeg Pa. Whitecaps win it back. It is Perez. Perez holds the ball up, got pushed aside by Grabavoy, keeps possession for Mane, and then gets it back. Look at these 15 yards deep inside his own half of the field. As Ka plays in Kian Sfroze and then Tim Parker. And I wonder how many fans will slowly start to convert. And there were some very vociferous complaints when Blas Perez became a Whitecap. Even the suggestion was something that disgusted several of the Whitecap faithful.
Well, again, I'm going to say, go to MLSsoccer.com. Find the MLS, is it the Insider? Or is that
MLS Insider.
MLS Insider. Watch the video on that lad. Fantastic son, fantastic father, and a quality lad all around.
Grabavoy slips it through. Jordan Smith recovering easily against Polk. Gets to the outside of the rookie and then plays it off of the 20th overall pick and out for a Whitecap throw. The fact that he really wanted to play and that the Whitecaps seemed like a good fit for him was also a good sign that he wanted to be here.
Pedro Morales winning all kinds of balls. This is the hardest I've seen him work in a long, long time. Looks very fit, putting in a shift here for the Whitecaps.
And he started that move that now finds Jordan Harvey. Infield to the Maestro once more, and then back to Pamadou Ka, and across the back to Tim Parker. We're in the 42nd minute, and it's Portland 0, Whitecaps 1. Blas Perez netting off a Pedro Morales corner. Wide for Smith, running infield. Back to Morales. Little touch before deferring for Parker. Into midfield for Kian Sfroze. And he neatly stabs it wide for Jordan Harvey. Crossing midfield, running forward. Bustos is ahead of him. And now it's Kekuta Mane. Here comes Harvey on the overlap. Mane decides to look infield. Finds Froze. Froze. Short for Morales. Away goes Smith down the right. Morales, Froze in a decent position. Grabavoy shuts him off for a moment. Then Perez tried to come back and help, but it falls to Manning, who slams it back towards Tim Parker. Morales. Smith, wide right, Portland territory, 15 yards deep, looking up, sends a ball across, a bit of an errant ball that Harvey's going to have to race to, headed it forward for Mane, nice little first touch, evades two, looks infield for Bustos, takes turns, wide to Harvey, can he line up across, sends it in, back post, there's Davies in the region, falls to Bustos, couldn't get there before Jack Dewsbury, and the veteran calmly puts it into midfield, not before Harvey slides to keep possession. Bustos picks up, plays the way he's facing for Parker, gets it right back again. Straight up the middle. Little ball for his longtime friend and teammate Froze. Out wide for Harvey, and infield for Mane. He looks forward once again. He's got Blas Perez asking for it. That's where the ball goes. Quickly back out wide, zipped into Harvey. Left-footed ball. Davies is there, just past him and out the other side. Polk shouldered off of it by Smith. Gets around Smith, heavy touch, off and out, Whitecap throw.
Good sustained attack by the Whitecaps, getting it in the box, it comes out, getting it in the box again, and good combination play within that. Twice Jordan Harvey being able to get a cross in, terrific crosses both times.
Tim Parker called for a foul as he climbed on Jack McInerney, so Portland will get a free kick in the final 2 minutes of the first half, just inside Whitecaps territory. Pedro Morales having a long chat, probably in Spanish, with Ricardo Salazar. And the man in the middle in yellow and black stands his ground, and the Portland Timbers will have their free kick. Dewsbury, Valentine, and then Manning. Grabavoy comes back, plays in Manning, wearing number 35 in green. Across the park it goes, cut out though by Davies. Didn't get a clean touch though, and is down on the ground now, the youngster, but he's back up quickly. 67 is the number Davies is wearing. We'll see what he wears for Whitecaps FC 2 unless things go really well. But really encouraging to see a 15-year-old in the Whitecaps property. Nice ball from Morales. Even better ball from Harvey. Finds Mane. Little chip, and Gleason with a good save. This time Jake Gleason, decisive, came off his line, and Mane tried to chip the Kiwi after a wonderful ball from Morales. First time through to Harvey. And back it goes to Tim Parker. Last minute of play in this first half. Whitecaps leading by a goal to nil. Blas Perez on the score sheet. Jordan Smith on the ball, infield. Davies closed down by Dewsbury. Did well by Zemanski before playing it wide for Harvey. Harvey looking up for Mane. Froze. Mane along the touchline. Infield for Morales. Great ball forward for Froze. Wriggles free for Davies. Davies, little ball short to Morales. Morales back to Mane, below us, near touchline, and then back it goes to 77 in white. He plays a square ball to Froze, and the smart ball back to Pamoduka, and then across to Parker. Tim Parker picks out Bustos, takes turns beautifully, and then Blas Perez plays it back to Pedro Morales. He thumps a sweet ball into the path of Jordan Smith. Can they get the service right? Oh, Smith let it bounce. He should have been all over that ball. It was a beautiful ball played out wide. 2 minutes of added time. My goodness, did Pedro Morales play it on a dime and somehow just misread by the Costa Rican.
It sure was, and that was Pedro Morales at his absolute best. Short pass, gets it, and then frees the fullback down that far side. Jordan Smith has to read that one bounce, touch, and do what he does best, whip it in, because the Whitecaps had men in the box.
How do you defend a 65-yard ball hit on a rope as the ball is steered back to the goalkeeper?
And the key again for me, Peter, is the work before that, the 3 or 4 combinations, the 3 or 4 passes before that that are quick. You draw players in, and then Pedro can do, again, what I said he does best, is to ping it out wide. Look at his work rate here as well.
He's gone to ground even to try to win it back from Zemanski. Nice turn, and Ned Grabavoy picks out Pay. Right-footed ball early, and it's blocked by Jordan Harvey. We're into the 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. Portland 0, Whitecaps 1, but a chance for the Timbers to reply late from a corner, which is how the Whitecaps scored. And it's Jack Dewsbury over to take from the quadrant to our right. 5 green jerseys in the box. The Whitecaps finding their marks as Dewsbury lifts it in. It's Blas Perez who flicks it away. Bustos volleys to midfield, and it's like a sea of white surging forward to get out of their own area as the last man back is Andy Toma. Last man back is Eric Valentine. And Valentin will look for an outlet. Playing at center back, but will likely play at fullback. Well, we'll wait and see. As the Whitecaps win the ball back, Perez won it, and here comes Morales. Is there time for one more thrust by the Whitecaps? Little layoff by Mane, and that was poor too. He should have hung on to that one. As Mane tries to find his timing again, the whistle sounds. It's halftime at Providence Park, and it's the Timbers 0 and Whitecaps 1 through Blas Perez's left-footed finish off of Pedro Morales' corner, David Norman.
It certainly was, and that's the moment of the game as far as going ahead, scoring a goal. That's fantastic. But I think what the Whitecaps and particularly Carl Robinson and his staff will be very excited about here is the quickness and the way that the Whitecaps move the ball. The lead man on that was Pedro Morales. They needed to get him minutes, probably come off at this stage, I would think midweek. They needed to get him minutes and get him going, and did he ever do that? Second guy for me is Blas Perez. He was the
Research at the BC Cancer Agency. Full details at workouttoconquercancer.ca. Gear up for the Vancouver Sun Run presented by Blue Shore Financial on Sunday, April 17th.
30.
Canada's largest 10K road race is fun for all levels and all ages. For more info or to register.
Welcome back to Providence Park, where we're getting set for the second half kickoff. And a couple of quick little notes just handed to us. Thomas Gardner has been added to the Whitecaps substitute bench, and the captain's armband has just been handed to Jordan Harvey, which tells us that Pedro Morales' evening is done. And coming on in his stead is the man shrouded in mystery. The trialist Hudson, wearing number 25, will head straight into the middle of the park. He'll play alongside Kean Sfroze. Immediately, Pamoduka goes over and says a quick little word. Spencer Ritchie is coming into the game, and he'll start in goal to our left, as the Whitecaps will now have to defend Section 107 and the Timbers Army. So those are the two obvious subs. I'm not sure if I'm missing anybody else, but we see the two subs. Meanwhile, Portland back on the park, and we'll see if Caleb Porter has made any changes. Doesn't look at it from first glance, as goalkeeper Jake Gleason heads in the goal to our right now, all in black. The Timbers are all in green with the white trim and the yellow chevron across their chest. The Whitecaps all in white. Spencer Ritchie is in purple.
Yeah, Portland only listing 5 substitutes, one of them a goalie. Nick Beasler, Matt's brother, draft pick last year available, and 3 other draft picks that they haven't signed yet available to come on tonight as well. Caleb Porter electing to keep all his first team players that played the other night away from the action tonight.
Whitecaps to kick off. It's Perez and Bustos, Alfonso Davies, and now Hudson. So 2 15-year-olds are on the park right now. Kean Sfroze is 19, Marco Bustos 19. And it's played wide to Jordan Smith. He has Parker behind him, and that's where the ball goes. Of course, Tim Parker made a brief cameo here at the end of a game in Portland, and then had to start alongside Christian Dean in the other, as it's picked up by Davies, lost out, but Blas Perez steaming in to win the ball back. A lot of veteran savvy as Marco Bustos plays it back to Smith. Up the line, and a poor ball infield from Davies, won back by Toma. And now Valentin goes back to his goalkeeper, Gleason. Just underway in the second half on TSN 1040 and whitecapsfc.com. Peter Shad and David Norman, thrilled to have you along from the Rose City, glittering away in the evening, moon rising off in the distance, and the ball at the feet of Manning for Portland. Across the back for Valentin, and then along the near side for Toma. Polk. Back to Valentin. Pressure from Bustos across the back for Manning, as Portland tries to find a little niche here to play into. Manning, and again across the back to Valentin. Don't like what they see up front, but now finally they can get a ball up the near side touchline for Toma. He's running at Davies, who got a brief touch, but the ball did wriggle through, and Toma goes for a terrific looking run. Kept the ball in play, or did he? No, he didn't. The ball is off and out, so Spencer Ritchie will have a goal kick to our left. Pretty pedestrian first half for Paulo Tornaghi, who did have to hold his breath as Jack Dewsbury. Oh, and then Pamoduka stepped inside the penalty area cleverly, because that was not a good ball from Ritchie, and I don't like those short goal kicks sometimes. I know they want to play from the back, but I think sometimes you can be a little bit too cute. And again, Pa is stationed just outside his 18-yard box, and now he's telling the young goalkeeper just to get this ball in play.
As you said, a savvy play from him, stepping inside the box to touch it. Referee never called it right away. It was a little bit of a miskick from Pamoduka, but fortunately the referee seeing it.
Have to think that Ritchie is a pretty good bet to be the starter for the USL team when Alan Koch and his troops reconvene.
Oh, you got Sean Melvin in there as well now.
Marco Carducci.
Well as Marco.
Here's Jack McInerney for the Timbers. Wide right as Brett tries to play it forward, and that's off and out for a Portland throw-in. just underway in the second half. 2.5 minutes in, and Portland in possession. Manning once more. Valentin takes and charges forward. Former Chivas USA and Montreal Impact player. Up the line it goes for Andy Toma. Infield, Grabavoy, chased by Froze, back to Toma. And then all the way back to Jewsbury, who drops between the two center backs. Curls it out wide for Taylor Pay. Closed down by Hudson. And Mane over on that left-hand side. Manning, little chip through. Harvey has to let that one run. He's outnumbered in that corner, battling away, goes for a tumble. Maybe a chance to cross in here for Taylor Pay. A little back heel. Brett, short. Zemansky takes and turns, and he knocks it off the legs of Mane and out. Through ball that skips past Brett and over the byline. Nothing for Mr. Salazar, so it's another Whitecap goal kick. And Spencer Ritchie looking to his left and to his right to try to figure out a short option.
And that option in the first half was quite a few times Pedro Morales, who dropped back in and around the arc, around the penalty area, got it, turned, played good balls out, kept Whitecaps in possession and kept them moving. This half, 3 times already they've had to kick it up, and it will be Perez to flick it on here.
And then Valentin goes back to his goalkeeper. Gleason pressured by Bustos. Ka steps up and wins the ball for Froze. Back to Ka, quickly out wide for Mane, and then the Whitecaps win a free kick as Mane was caught from behind, and they'll have a free kick just inside Portland territory. It's a bit of a slow start to the second half, though. It doesn't quite have the pace that the first half did, at least the last few minutes of the first half. Froze looking for a target, picks out Perez. He often is the target. Now it's Mane, rolls it back to Froze. Bit of a dangerous ball, but Bustos lays off. Perez steers it back for Kians. Couldn't quite get there. Whitecaps do maintain possession. It's Blas Perez, the goal scorer, has it taken away as Manning lifts it into Ben Zemansky. And then into the right channel for Jack McInerney, running at Pamoduka. Early ball across. Out comes Spencer Ritchie. There was a little nudge by Jordan Harvey. A pretty clever little shoulder into Nico Brett. And he got away with it as Ritchie bowls it to his right for Parker, and then back to the University of Washington Husky. Into midfield it goes, all the way to Perez, and another foul drawn by Marco Bustos. Jack Jewsbury.
Oh, it's against Bustos. I thought the referee might have got that wrong there. Bustos just coming in at the last minute on Jewsbury, bumping him from behind. Referee didn't realize they had switched halves, going the other way.
Yeah, he pointed one way and awarded the foul the other. As Manning plays it into the feet of Brett, facing his defender, gives it back to Manning, just into Whitecaps territory on the right side. And then again, it's Jewsbury who drops off before playing it into Valentin. And then up the line it goes for Andy Toma. Infield. Picked up there by Polk. Back to Valentin. Whitecaps forcing Portland to play around the outside, as they are a little bit hesitant to go right into the meat of the matter in midfield. Now it's Grabavoy dropping off. I think the fans are getting a little restless. They want to see something more than perimeter balls played around the park. Jewsbury plays it out wide for Taylor Pay, and he finds McInerney, who's well offside, and this has been a bit of a sloppy start to the second half, the Whitecaps getting the indirect free kick here at minute 52.
Yeah, poor run by McInerney, way too early. Manning looking up, not a bad ball in from the big lad, and we've said it in the first half, I was quite impressed by him, the rookie. Came in this year, drafted 52nd in 2015, had a decent amount of games in P2 last year. He's looked good in this game.
Now a little bit of pressure on Tim Parker, who sends the ball straight to Jack Jewsbury. Jewsbury straight up the middle, a little layoff to Grabavoy. Can the veterans get it done? Here's Polk, sends it through, and sliding back was Pamoduka. And not only prevented a cross from going in, but also prevented the corner neatly as it's taken quickly for Toma. Back heel, Polk, right-footed, edge of the box, Grabavoy, fended off by Parker. And then Grabavoy lost out nearly, but did get it back to Valentin with Bustos chasing. Bustos hasn't been on the ball as much here in the second half. He's been doing a lot of chasing, though.
Big part of that, again, I'll say it, is Pedro Morales missing because he gets the ball at the back. He's able to keep it comfortable, open up players. Once you get up 1 or 2 pass combination going, then Portland's starting to chase, and they haven't had to do that in this half yet.
Now Smith with a long throw, and it's going to take an awkward hop, but Jewsbury was there. Very experienced play to just knock it down for Toma. Bustos going in and harassing, but it's off of Bustos and out. And another Portland Timbers throw in here in minute 53. As up the line it goes from Toma. Little flick from Polk. Reeled in by McInerney. Sidestepping Davies. And then playing it back all the way to Manning. 10 yards inside his own half of midfield. Pokes it ahead for Jewsbury. Crosses midfield. Slips it out wide for Taylor Pay. Back infield for Ben Zemanski. Slips it through and then poked away. Blas Perez takes turns, able to look forward. Fend off 2 green shirts before playing it back to Ka, and then wide for the skipper, Jordan Harvey. Up the line, Mane gave it away. Zemanski steals. Edge of the area for Grabavoy, and then back to Brett into midfield, and Bustos this time finds Perez, who has time to chest it down, lay it off, got thumped in the process. Play goes on. Davies, and then a poor ball by, it looked like Hudson there, and it's all the way back to Valentin, who's got his arms in the air. I think he wanted a decision. But it's a bit of a frustrating start to the second half for both teams.
Yeah, a little bit of a dog's breakfast. Portland probably the happier team because they're keeping possession. Whitecaps giving it away much too easily here.
And there's classic Blas Perez steamrolling through Ned Grabavoy.
First time tonight. Took him 53 minutes.
I think he thought he was fouled before then, though, and it didn't go his way. And now Andy Toma has the ball go off and out for a Portland throw-in. Back it goes. Valentin trying to get his team on level terms. They're trailing by a goal to nil. Blas Perez, minute 38. We're in the 55th minute. Portland 0, Whitecaps 1. Toma, good header up the line. Can he keep it in play? He can. Then he tries to get past Smith. And helping out was Davies to cover. He floats a long ball that Kekuta Mane can chase. Kekuta Mane got there, and now away he goes. He's got Blas Perez wide open, and he couldn't stab the ball across. And Pay, you have to give him credit. He got it and got away with it. And now he's turning the attack the other way as it finally does open up a little bit. McInerney drops to take. Infield, Grabavoy. Grabavoy trying to run past Hudson. Perez again steaming in, but Manning picks up, and Grabavoy has it in front of Bustos. Now Valentin from the back. Crosses midfield, wide left, Toma, infield, took a touch, and Smith is battling away with Brett, and then all the way back once more. As Eric Valentin seems to be the man who's been charged with starting these attacks from the back. Manning will pick it up for Portland here in minute 56. Up the line from Pay to McInerney in Whitecap territory, spins before rolling it all the way back again to Manning. Across the back for Valentin. Right-footed ball, nearly cut out by Davies, but it does find Toma. And Davies got a little touch. Froze was there to help. It's back to Jordan Smith. Little chip, not enough. Davies was there to cover, though. And the 15-year-old will play it back to Pamoduka, who lifts it into midfield for Perez. Perez got a little touch, falls to Bustos, pokes it back for Froze. Froze will take and run with it before playing it out wide to Bustos. Bustos. Backwards it goes to Davies, and then Jordan Smith. Smith looks up. He's going to switch play for Ka. It's a firm ball that Ka has to deal with, and then neatly out wide from Hudson to Jordan Harvey, who will get across midfield right along the far touchline. Infield for Hudson. Has a look up and finds the feet of Keans Froze. Through ball neatly Davies. Davies caught, and it's picked up by Brett, and back come the Timbers once more with Toma. Left-footed ball into Whitecap territory, and Parker left McInerney for dust there. Spencer Ritchie comes off his line, and Parker will play it into midfield, picked up by Hudson. Pamoduka looking forward by himself, and picks out Froze, who has time to turn and play Tim Parker on. Parker facing forward will slip it into the feet of Bustos, but covered quickly by Jack Jewsbury, and now it's Keans Froze. Froze will float the ball nicely into Jordan Harvey. Closed down by Pay. Infield ball to Mane. Tried to slip it through for Perez. Falls to Keans Froze at midfield. Hudson. Wide left. Harvey. Infield. Mane. Mane takes turns. Plays in Froze once more. And Keans will slip the ball wide right to Jordan Smith, who's 20 yards from the corner flag. He's going to go for a run and gets past his man easily. Opens his stride up, whips it in, back post, headed away, only as far as Bustos. Bustos trying to shape up, got caught by Grabavoy, and that'll be a free kick for the Whitecaps just outside the penalty arc. I think the referee dropped his
He
whistle.
dropped his whistle. I thought he wasn't going to call it for a minute. He was right there. He actually had to go down, pick up his whistle and blow, but Bustos definitely caught from behind there. Right on his left leg, favored foot. Seen him score so many times from there, Peter. He was lining it up, looked like he wanted to hit it. Ned Grabovoy just nicking his back foot.
It's the right call.
Absolutely right call.
And here's a substitution for the Timbers as Michael Seaton will replace Ben Polk. So he'll head straight into the fray. Big lad too, Seaton, wearing number 31, and he has some instructions for Grabovoy.
Only 19, Seaton.
Perez and Bustos standing off the ball. The wall will be backed up almost to the penalty spot.
Jordan Smith also lining this up, in fact placing it, and he can absolutely thump a ball, maybe not the intricacy of a Pedro Morales or a Marco Bustos, but he will look to thump it here.
He is, and he rips it, and just over the top. And the Costa Rican got every lace on that one, but over and out.
That was some strike. As you said, it just went over the crossbar, went over the back seats in behind Gleason, and it could have kept going. In fact, if we had been in a 3 or 4 park situation there, it might have gone right down to the back end goal of another park.
And it needed to be 2 yards lower, but you saw the power there, and it was Smith who actually caused the problems in the first place with a terrific whipped-in ball after legging it down to the byline. I think Whitecaps fans want to see that more often because when he opens up his stride, he is a locomotive, and he now has a throw. And there were some comparisons, and I think in a sort of hopeful manner that he might one day be something akin to Elvis Powell here in Portland, who's out right now with a minor injury.
Yeah, a young right back as well, maybe one of the best right backs in the league now.
I personally would have liked to have seen Bustos hit that one. That needed a little bit of craft there, but back it goes to Gleason. It's Portland pounding the ball into touch right to Carl Robinson, whose touch was decent. And now he'll scoop it up for his fullback with a little header. And Jordan Smith will take this throw in minute number 60. We've reached the hour mark. It's Portland 0, Whitecaps 1 on Bell Whitecaps FC preseason soccer. Christian Bolaños is getting stripped down and ready to come in as Smith will launch this one towards Mane. He got a little flick. Perez got the second ball. It pops up at the edge of the 18. Not a decisive clearance. Right to Davies. He knocks it forward. Toma will hammer it into Whitecap territory. Ka with a sliding, flying tackle to knock the ball in touch, but keep it out of the danger area.
He needed to be good there, Ka, because there was a player just slipping in behind him. Well, I think we'll see the 3 players come on here, Rivero and Teixeira as well. So the Whitecaps will get a little bit more experienced here. You'd think Perez comes off. You think maybe Alfonso Davies comes off for Teixeira, but they will get more experienced here.
Ball played deep for Seaton, who gets to the byline into Portland territory. Nice little layoff back at Szymanski. Pokes it through. Double hit right to Ritchie. Very fortunate as Parker played it off a teammate, and it went straight to the Whitecaps goalkeeper. And now it's at the feet of Jordan Smith. Right-footed ball, long and way over the head of Blas Perez, who wanted it on the ground and at his feet. And back for it is Manning. Into midfield for Szymanski, who's looking more and more confident, and I think the Timbers have high hopes for him this year. No Will Johnson now in his path as Bustos plays it into the path of the oncoming Jordan Smith. Smith with Davies to his right. That's where the ball goes. Infield for Hudson. Hudson takes, squares it up for Froze. Back to Hudson, who has a look forward before playing it wide. 3 Whitecaps lined up. Hudson got a little knock there, and then a through ball could be picked up by McInerney just past him. And Ka will pick up, play it short for Hudson. He has a look, stabs it ahead for Perez. Back to Pamadou Ka. Harvey's wide open on the left. Kians Froze will play it in the captain's direction. The Mission Viejo native, who is now a father, of course. Little Harlow doing very well. Bit of a challenge sometimes, I'm sure. And he'll have it back, Jordan Harvey. Now picks up Bustos. Pokes it ahead for Froze, tries to shake off Szymanski. Hudson back to Froze, through ball Bustos. This is looking better. Out wide for Harvey, up the line is Mane, and that's where the ball goes. Mane takes, gives it back to Harvey. That's nicely done. Can he get the service right? Early ball in and knocked over and out. It's a Whitecap corner in minute number 63.
Good movement from the Whitecaps down that left side. Again, Harvey getting involved. Good crosses from Harvey, getting forward. And we talked about the competition between him and Adekubi at the beginning of the game, and both of them doing well in the last 2 games here at getting forward and getting crosses in.
Blas Perez, the goal scorer, will be swapped by Octavio Rivero. He's not taking, he is taking a sweet time. Big smile on his face. He has the goal. So Rivero will come on for Perez. Is it Bolaños for Bustos? We'll see.
It's for Bolaños for
Davies,
Kakuda, I think, and Teixeira for Alfonso Davies on this right-hand side.
There you go. So they've managed to keep a pretty good blend of youth and experience. Rivero's on, Teixeira's on, Bolaños is on, Perez, Davies, and Mane off. So Mane gets some good minutes, another hour and a bit for Kakuda Mane. He gets the handshake and the head pat, and off they go as the Whitecaps now get the corner. And Jordan Harvey standing off of this. He's been waiting in that corner for quite some time. And the Whitecaps cash in again from a set piece. That's Bustos who sends it in. And then it's over and out, I believe, from Jordan Harvey. So Bustos took the corner.
Scored from there before, didn't he, Harvey?
He did.
Same play? Yeah, I think so.
In this building. He likes that.
Yes, absolutely.
Now another substitution for the Timbers, as Trevor Morley is coming on at the back for Zarek Valentin. So Morley will play at center back.
81st pick in the 2016 draft, so quite a ways down. Doesn't have a contract yet with the Portland Timbers. Will be looking to move himself ahead here tonight, certainly for at least a USL contract.
And I think if you're Octavio Rivero, you must be licking your chops. You've got 2 rookie center backs, the newest on the field now in Morley, and easy to pick out, 32 in green and blonde. And now Manning, so a very young center back pairing as the ball is chipped over into the corner, picked up by Nico Brett. Interesting that he's been on a little longer than Polk. He's the lower pick of the 2. Ball played through, Brett in the corner. Might be a last chance saloon for some of these players. And the Whitecaps pick it up through Froze. He's gone the distance and he whips it into the feet of Octavio Rivero. It goes past him, and Morley will be back to collect for the Timbers in his own area, 65th minute. And the Timbers still looking for a goal.
You mentioned Froze going the entire way here, grown into the game as well without Pedro Morales at his side, which is very important. He's got the youngster Hudson, so he needs to be the one now to take control of that midfield, and I've seen some good signs of that.
Nice ball played out wide. Taylor Pay racing into Whitecap territory, running at Harvey. Harvey scampering, and he got a piece of it, so you'll have to play it off and out for a throw in deep. This one's 10 yards up from the opposite touchline. Timbers Army relatively quiet by their standards. I'd say, maybe 9,000 fans here, maybe a little bit more than that. As the ball is at the feet of Pay, who knocks it off of a Whitecap and out. I think Bolaños was the man who reached in. And now it's thrown in quickly for Szymanski. Szymanski through to Brett. Tries to turn, and Tim Parker has to dive in with a header, put it over his own byline, and the Timbers will get a 66th minute corner from the opposite touchline.
And he had to get his head on that because Jack McInerney had just peeled off his shoulder. Tim Parker got himself in a nice position.
Out buzzing for the moment, but Pamoduka heads the ball all the way back. Jewsbury, right-footed ball, and headed away by Parker.
Had a free header. Tim Parker doing well to knock it out for a corner.
And that gets Taylor Pay is on it. He's 30 yards out, whips it in, a little header flicked back. Still in trouble from McInerney, tried to shape up with a shot, pokes it back, a long effort from Szymanski, blocked. And then it's nicely played forward, and now maybe a chance to break for Christian Teixeira. Takes, turns, and sprints into Portland territory. Infield ball behind Bustos, and Morley will pick it up and play it back to his partner Manning, who sends it over the top, and Tim Parker will just let that run all the way through to Ritchie.
And a player we never really talked about pre-game, we never really talked about during the game here, is Timmy Parker. Player that is playing out of his skin right now to get a starting role on March 6th, and there's good competition again at that center back space with Waston, with Pamoduka, with Christian Dean, of course, having a good game the other night.
Nice ball to Bolaños. He crosses midfield. 4 Whitecaps into Portland territory. Bolaños, what can he do? Slips it through. It's onside. No, it isn't. The flag goes up on Teixeira. And they just couldn't get the timing right. But, that Bolaños drifts into little pockets and then releases the ball facing in the other direction. It's an indirect free kick quickly taken for Morley.
We've seen him do that a number of times already, and it's the way he slows the game down almost to a dead stop at times. Fantastic.
Forcing a lot of ball watching as McInerney tries to get around the corner on Parker. Maybe the best he's hoping for is a corner here, but Parker, hands behind his back, holding firm, got tumbled over, no foul. And then up the touchline it goes, off and out, and it'll be a Portland throw-in, quickly taken. McInerney tries to spin, chips it in, and it's knocked away by Jordan Harvey, who is covering, asking for a throw-in, but no, it's another corner for the Timbers, this time for the near side. Over comes Dewsbury. Captain Jack, they called him when he arrived in 2011 in that trade from then the Kansas City Wizards. And he will take a right-footed in-swinging cross that may test Spencer Ritchie out. The debutant right now in goal for the Whitecaps in purple. Here comes the corner, right-footed. Lots of tussling in the box right now. Jordan Smith among those involved.
Having a word now, the referee, with Jordan Smith.
He's marking Manning. And that's two fairly tall lads. Now it's Dewsbury's corner, whipped in towards the back post. Ritchie up and very clean hands, snatches it in full flight. And he will calm things down before bowling it to his right for Timmy Parker.
Looked confident there, good catch. Looked up, was going to play in Teixeira, but wisely did not. Whitecaps on the attack again.
Teixeira stabs it beautifully to Bustos. He got pulled over by Zimanski, and Mr. Salazar couldn't have been closer to that. Gives the Whitecaps the free kick, and they get on with it quickly as Bustos rolls it forward to Rivero. Back to Marco Bustos. He lays it off to Keans Froese, and then wide for Jordan Harvey. Harvey forward, Bolaños. So he tried a deft little flick back. Couldn't pull it off. Zimanski will lay it off, and now it's through and into Whitecap territory, and it's a chance for a through ball, and perhaps a chance for Michael Seaton to get on the end of this. He's into the penalty area, cutting to his left foot. Long-legged player trying to get it out of those feet. Top of the area, neatly picks out Dewsbury and puts it just wide. Did Ritchie get a touch?
I think he did.
Oh, goal kick. It was a delayed reaction.
That's one of those where the keeper actually wants to claim it because it's a great save, isn't it? But he doesn't want to claim it because he wants the goal kick. But I think he got a touch to it, and Dewsbury certainly did.
We'll get a look now as Dewsbury stepped up in a little pocket. Oh, I think that's a save.
We'll ask him after.
He will say yes.
Yes.
No problem
of course,
now
of
because
course.
it's a goal kick in minute 70. Still Portland 0. Whitecaps won on a Blas Perez goal in minute 38. But a couple of chances for Portland, and now Rivero heads the ball square for Teixeira. Can't keep up to it. And again, Carl Robinson called into action in the technical area below us. Andy Toma with the throw-in as he sends it long. Little flick there by Seaton, and then it's off and out, and the Whitecaps will get possession back. Jordan Smith, who can really launch these, looks forward. Rivero with a little flick, but Morley was right there. And then Teixeira, the bug, holds off two, plays it back to Smith. A little chip up the line, not enough on it though. Rivero fighting to get it back, but it's McInerney in possession for the Timbers. Little ball back into Grabavoy, back out wide left for McInerney, and then infield for Dewsbury. Back to Jack Mack. He holds up the two Jacks in combination, and then it's back to Morley. As the second half substitute, plays it across to his partner, Manning. Closed down by Bustos, who's putting the pressure on, and then a good slide by Hudson finds Teixeira racing forward. Whitecaps have numbers. Rivero in a nice spot to shoot. Rivero into his left foot. Rivero scores and buries it into the far corner with a swerving left-footed strike. It was the counterattack the Whitecaps were waiting for, and they took full advantage in minute 72, doubling their lead to 2-0.
Exactly what the Whitecaps want to see from Octavio Rivero. Can he get the ball in good positions on that counterattack and create something himself? Did enough to just get a half step past the defender that had just come on, Morley. And not only that, had the calmness and the good sense of where the net was to curl it around Gleason, a big man in net at 6'4", gets it around him with a clever finish. Very well done, Octavio Rivero.
Well, and let's not diminish Teixeira's role in that either. Yeah. And the turnover by Hudson, who went to ground to dig it out. Now it's into the Whitecap penalty area, but Smith takes turns and then launches it long to Rivero. Morley against him again, bounced off Rivero. He's fighting to get it back, but Teixeira driving into the space, sprinting forward the bug. He might have a go from distance. He has Bolaños to his left and elected to hang on to it. Otherwise, there might have been another chance for Vancouver. In the meantime, Nico Brett will take it wide, floated into midfield, where it's pulled down and almost lost. Hudson trying to battle away against Szymanski, who did well to evade the trialist. Szymanski into Whitecap territory, pokes it through, and it ran away from Brett. He'll try to get it back, crosses it through, and a good chance in front. As in was Michael Seaton, but he couldn't connect cleanly. It bobbles through, and goalkeeper Ritchie will have it once again.
Bobbled through, but again, Tim Parker in a good position. I think he's had an absolute cracking game tonight, Tim Parker. Positionally, he's been very, very well. His athleticism gets him into good areas, and he's making good decisions on the ball, as we've seen him throughout the season last year get better and better and keep his levels at the next level he gets to. He's done very well.
Well, he says he has really high expectations for his second season. Not a great kick by Ritchie, and that might have caused some problems. And it's into midfield, and sprinting forward is Taylor Pay. Nice tackle, beautiful poke there by Harvey Bolaños. We'll give it to Kean Sprouse. Got the ice bath too yesterday on his birthday. Tim Parker, the champagne birthday. Teixeira, infield for Bustos, and then back to the bug. Smith looking up from the back, nicely through to Bustos, pulls it down. Teixeira, back to Bustos, beautiful football below us, and then infield it goes for Kean Sprouse again. Jordan Harvey wide open on the left side, forcing all the green shirts to track across the park. Then the little seam ball for Bolaños, who will play it right back to Harvey. Calm as you like, back and forth they go, like a training exercise, before Froze picks up. Goes backwards to Ka, and I think the thing that Whitecaps fans will be encouraged by, and yes, there's a rookie center back on, it's a left-footed strike by Rivero, and it went into the seam of the net with some venom behind it.
Left-footed, but also that he took on his man, got that little half yard, and didn't hesitate at all to hit it.
Nice little flick by McInerney, and away goes Seaton, finds his man, but Brett just fires way wide of the goal. In the 75th minute, it's a Whitecap goal kick to our left.
And back to Rivero in the first 5 or 6 games, 7 games last year when he was scoring, when he was getting the ball into the back of the net. That's what we saw from him, Pete. Step overs, going by people, creating that half yard for himself. Yes, you've got Pedro. Yes, you've got Bolaños on this team. You've got Teixeira that are going to make good passes for you. But a striker still needs to create and make some chances for himself. And that's exactly what the Whitecaps will want to see from Rivero, and it'll give him a lot of confidence going forward to hit one in preseason.
2 last subs about to enter in the game. Carlton Belmar will come on, and it looks like Nick Beasler, Matt's brother, will be on the park shortly for the Timbers. As we're in the 76th minute, it's the Portland Timbers 0, Whitecaps FC 2. Strikers in on the action. Blas Perez left-footed, Octavio Rivero left-footed. And 2 very different goals. But now Cole Seiler is also warming up, and he gets a last handshake from Carl Robinson. Down the line it goes. Grabavoy looks like he wants to give up on that one, and he does, puffing his cheeks. And here comes a slew of substitutions. And the first one is Beasler coming on for Dewsbury. And I wonder if that's where Beasler will camp out, is in that holding midfield role.
That's where he plays, yeah.
And then Ned Grabavoy comes out in place of Carlton Belmar, while Cole Seiler will come in, and we're just waiting the 4th official here.
I think we're also going to see Tommy Gardner come in and make his debut with the Whitecaps. Long-time residency player.
So there's the 2 Portland substitutes. And it's Pa Moduka, who's on a yellow card. He'll come off, and Cole Seiler will camp out at the back alongside Tim Parker. Players that are very often compared to one another in this early going. Pa's taking a long walk off the park, and Cole Seiler waiting an eternity. You'd think he'd want to be on as soon as possible. Last minute encouragement for the rookie. He'll step onto the park and head to the middle of the penalty area as the Whitecaps' Jordan Smith has a throw into our left. Launches it long. Rivero camping out with Toma. Picked up there by Szymanski. Ben Szymanski trying to get away from Rivero, who's coming back and doing a little bit of the dirty work in his own half of the park. Maybe he got that from Blas Perez. And then it's off to Teixeira and out. The Whitecaps a little bit hard done by against Chicago with 2 very debatable penalties, both on Kendall Waston. They might be perfect in this tournament. And now it falls through to Brett, who hoists it into the area. Tim Parker with a header away, and Kian Froze half-hearted clearance, and Beasler absolutely stepped into that one, but by a good 8 yards wide. Spencer Ritchie will have a goal kick here in minute number 78, as we thank you for watching on whitecapsfc.com, listening on TSN 1040, and also thanking the terrific crew here in Portland who put on a marvelous tournament every year. This is one of the highlights of the year. It's such a great way to get the season kicked off, but there's quite a bit of technical work that goes in behind doing a simulcast like this, and the guys in Portland do a wonderful job. As Rivero nicely flicks it through to Teixeira on the sprint. Can he win himself a corner? Yes, he can. It should be a corner for the Whitecaps, and Bustos in a lot of hurry to come over and take this one. Let's see if the Whitecaps can add to their 2-0 lead against the hosts. Teixeira is short. Seiler is up.
Teixeira is short, you said?
Teixeira is showing short.
Showing short.
I should have said. I think that's a given now.
Yes.
And Tommy Gardner is waiting below us as there's the ball in. Punched away by Gleason, only as far as Christian Teixeira. He's going to have a go, and it's a big save as Seiler was there and obstructing the view, I think. It was a late look from Gleason, who could only force it away. And now Kian Froze will have the ball for Parker. Nicely back to Hudson, who was covering. And Hudson will have it for the Whitecaps. Forward to Teixeira. And he'll play it into the path of Smith. Up the line it goes to Bustos, who's gone the distance for the Whitecaps. Who will Tommy Gardner replace in just a moment?
I would think probably Marco Bustos, the man you just mentioned.
Rivero tries to get away from Toma. Infield to Teixeira neatly for the second goal scorer, Rivero, who weaves his way into Portland territory. Away goes Harvey, wanted the ball, should have probably gotten it. And then it's cleared into midfield from Belmar. Near side, McInerney squares it up. And then one back, and the two Whitecaps get in each other's way, but Seiler wins the battle, tries to find Bustos, who was thumped over, and Szymanski keeps possession. Now it's McInerney! Spencer Ritchie fought it off. The rebound goes wide. And it'll still stay in play as Smith will slam it off of a timber and out for a Whitecap goal kick. But a little bit of helter-skelter here in minute number 80 as Tommy Gardner comes on for Marco Bustos, who gets a good 80 minutes work and should be proud of that work today. We didn't see perhaps attacking threat. We know Marco can score, but he did the right things, kept the game simple, and will be happy, I'm sure, as will his manager.
Absolutely, and it was Kian Froze hustling back there a moment ago to stop that first attack, and then Spencer Ritchie getting involved with his best save so far of the game.
There was quite a reaction after Octavio Rivero scored from the bench, and I think it was partially because they were so happy to see what you alluded to, Dave, rolling off, facing forward, taking on a man, and then burying it clinically right into that far corner as Jordan Smith takes a throw in front of Caleb Porter. Rivero with a little touchdown, beautifully done to Teixeira. Teixeira trying to get to the outside of Toma, and Toma won that battle as he takes turns. And in minute number 81, picks out his teammate, Belmar, who then sends it through with Seaton back to goal. Seaton, infield, Beasler, right-footed ball, whips it all the way across the park. Brett heads it on. Froze back, lost it briefly, but that's going to go off and out, I think, for a Whitecap goal kick, and it will.
Kian Froze has really put a shift in here, and again, not to belabor the point, but you know, a few years ago, you wouldn't have seen that fitness level from Kian's. He's come back to camp here in extremely good shape, went away with the national team, builds his confidence, and he's had a very good game for me here tonight, and in what can be a very good role for him in that number 8 role in beside Matthias Laba, you would think, and getting forward and getting involved.
He has not hurt his chances here tonight, that's for sure. He's also a shoo-in for the Russell Wilson lookalike contest winner. I saw Wilson in our hotel lobby going off to do a Nike shoot. I thought it was Kian's at first, and I nearly said, how was training? No, wait, it's the Seahawks quarterback. As away come Toma and the Timbers. Nice little layoff at the top of the box. Two players getting their bearings crossed up as it was just knocked a little bit too far ahead. And Brett couldn't get on the end of it. Now Ritchie picks it up in his penalty area. We are in the 82nd, now 83rd minute. Portland 0, Whitecaps 2. Blas Perez and Octavio Rivero with the goals on either side of halftime. Hudson fell, but did manage to get the ball to Gardner. He'll play it off of a timber and out And Jordan Harvey will have the throw in. Two fullbacks have not looked out of place either, as Froze picks up after bobbling for a moment. Lifts it over the top. That's a good ball to spring Octavio Rivero. Again, he's going to take on Morley, the rookie. Rivero back to Bolaños, who hasn't had a whole lot to do in this half so far. Rivero waits, finds Teixeira. Edge of the box, holds up, layoff. Bolaños charging through. Christian Bolaños still going, and he almost made it all the way through. And it rolls nicely to Jake Gleason, but for a moment there, I thought Christian Bolaños was going to weave his way to a first goal, as Beasler finds Zemansky, and then back to Morley, and the big central defender plays it into midfield. Through ball, nicely done, in behind Smith. Nico Brett on it. Smith watching. Brett waiting for some support, but he's going to have a chance to shoot. Ritchie got a piece of it. It's half cleared, and then into midfield from Gardner. Rivero, early ball, beautifully done. Teixeira on this one. Teixeira with some support showing up now. Christian Teixeira running infield. Tries a long through ball, neither nor. Wasn't a shot, wasn't a through ball, and he'll have to chase back now and try to close down, as he does close down and wins it back. That's good work from the Uruguayan. Infield it goes. Hudson back to Parker. And now you wonder if the Whitecaps can seal it off with a counter-attack goal, because when they do pinch the ball, they've got a lot of young players in front of them trying to figure out coverage as it's floated into Teixeira now.
Young players and fresh Teixeira, Rivero, and Bolaños up front. So
Rivero did well to roll off his man. Bolaños casually back to Froze. Now Bolaños, who's really not left a strolling pace since he's come on here in the second half, takes it, squares it. Froze pokes it through. Gardner takes, got tumbled over, but Zemansky wins the ball cleanly and finds Jack McInerney. Then a through ball, sprinting ahead down that right flank, but off and out, as Belmar did well to earn Portland a corner, as Tim Parker had to cover. So a corner opportunity for Zemansky late here, 85th minute, and Portland down by 2 goals.
he was quick down that side, but not many are quicker than Tim Parker over 25 yards, getting back very, very well. Good cover again. And commanding. Look at him in the box, telling players where to go. Get in here and pick him up.
There's the corner, low driven ball straight to Spencer Ritchie. Comfortable height, no challenge. And the Whitecap goalkeeper will just kill some time here.
And he hasn't done himself any harm either. Spencer Ritchie looking very good in net. He's had 2 great saves. He's commanded the box well on corner kicks, on crosses.
And so far, Cole Seiler looking very comfortable too. He's had 2 good clearances, one with head and one with foot. And now it's Keans Froze back to Tim Parker, who actually did very well to lose his man. Picks out Gardner. Little ball square for a very deep Octavio Rivero. Froze gets it back. Pokes it through for Gardner. Takes turns. Picks out Bolaños on the left side. Bolaños running at Taylor Pay. A right-footed ball towards Rivero, but just a little too far, and Ritchie was able to make that. Gleason was able to smother it at the edge of his 6, and he'll now send it out to the left side. Back it goes for Morley. And that ball goes woefully off target and into touch for a gift throw-in on the far side.
The 2 young center backs for Portland showing their inexperience there. Morley with a poor ball over Manning, not even really reading it well. Could have still salvaged that if he had been on his toes.
Harvey will have this throw 15 yards up from the corner flag in Portland territory. Throws it into the box for Rivero. Holds off his man, spins him beautifully. Still on the ball, sends it across, headed away. Not long cleared though, and finally it does get cleared, but only as far as Jordan Smith. Smith in the middle of the park, tried to squeeze it through for Gardner, stumbled as he played it to Teixeira, dips a shoulder, changes direction, step over to our right in the Portland corner deep. Rolls it back to Smith, early ball high and deep. Rivero's there, it falls through to Bolaños, thought about shooting, holds, goes back to Froze. Froze gets past one, Keans Froze, can he have a shot? Still going, and was just tackled away at the last second. Terrific chance, but he couldn't evade Taylor Pay, and now it's a break the other way. As here come the Timbers, through ball, poor. And Parker read it well, cuts it out. I think we're going to see another quality chance at some point, Dave. Just the game's opened up in the last couple of seconds.
Yeah, it sure has.
Bolaños goes back to Seiler. make that Harvey, I believe it was, or was that Seiler?
That was Harvey, yep.
Sends it into Octavio Rivero. Through ball. And a very hopeful back heel is cleared away by Parker. Toma, closed down by Teixeira, who's done some good work defensively and wins the Whitecaps a throw-in. As Caleb Porter looks on, his team ready to suffer defeat here in this year's tournament, minute number 88. And Jordan Smith to take the throw-in. He goes long, looking for Rivero, a little layoff. Following up is Gardner, nods it through to Bolaños. Gardner keeps his run going, and it's a nice one, and it's a through ball for Rivero, just a tad heavy. And Jake Gleason was alert, came off his line quickly, and now bowls it to his right for Taylor Pay. Gardner quickly over to try to cover, but Pay gets past him and into Whitecap territory, sprinting forward, right-footed ball across behind McInerney, but over to this near side where it's Brett. Nico Brett, he looks to shape up. Good defending by Hudson. Hudson may get away. Here he goes. Pokes it ahead in the Whitecaps with a break. Through ball, Rivero, layoff. Hudson plays it over to Bolaños. 4 Whitecaps forward. It's 4v4, and now it's Harvey trying to join. Bolaños just slows the pace down and picks out Harvey. It's like he's a cat playing with a bird at the moment, just slowing things down, deciding when to change the tempo. Cole Seiler will play it for the Whitecaps. Teixeira, Seiler, up the line is Smith. Seiler's going to go for a wee bit of a run. It's not a bad run either. And then he plays it into the path of Smith. Was it too heavy? No, he kept it in just, but straight to a timber. And it's slammed right to the top, the man up front before Froese pokes it back to Parker. Harvey had tucked in. Tim Parker. Cole Seiler wears number 14 at the moment. Smith lost out to Brett. McInerney, and then Jens Froese breaking in to break up the play. Bolaños will 360 Zimanski, wait for Harvey to rush up the touchline and give it off to Jordan Harvey, who's going to go for a little run into Portland territory. Through ball, again it's Rivero. Rivero holds up beautifully, needs some support. Can he play it back? He's going to hold on to it, top of the area, just not quite there, as it was won back by Pay. Good covering, and Zimanski forward for the Timbers. Little layoff from McInerney, and again, away they come. McInerney up the middle for the Timbers. You do wonder if they're going to look at another forward with the departure of the Argentine striker Max Urruti.
McInerney has not done it for them tonight.
That's a good change of pace, though. Taylor Pay will knock it into the penalty area. Smith will easily head it away. And now can the Whitecaps transition? That's a good ball. 2 minutes of added time. We're into that. Christian Bolaños will accelerate across midfield. Holds up, lays off. Gardner takes turns, plays on Smith, advancing across the midfield stripe. We're into added on minutes at the end of 90. And the Timbers do win it back. Whitecaps fans watching would love to see a third goal. Smith with a clumsy challenge and then a little late thump there on Beasler. Timbers get on with it. Beasler wasn't bothered. Good on him as McInerney plays it out wide right. Away goes Seaton for the Timbers. Back to goal Zimanski, all the way back to Morley. And now Manning. Again, Zimanski, who has gone the distance for the Timbers and has looked very, very good.
Good on him, yeah. Good to see him back.
A right-footed ball. Seiler read it, and Smith was covering. Hudson got a little touch, not enough. Parker went hunting, but it's in behind. McInerney couldn't reach it before Spencer Ritchie pounces off his line to smother it here in second half stoppage time.
A little bit lucky there. Cole Seiler was eager to get onto the ball, couldn't get there. Put himself out of position. McInerney able to slip in behind him. Spencer Ritchie doing well again.
Beasler picks out Seaton. Right-footed ball for McInerney, and out comes the goalkeeper. The flag had gone up for offside as Jack Mack has been caught a number of times here. 3 times by David Norman's count.
In this half.
And Spencer Ritchie with the goal kick, or at least the indirect free kick. Right-footed delivery into Portland territory. Octavio Rivero, who had the insurance goal. Great little flick. Now Teixeira got in behind his man, but not quite past Toma, who knocks it into midfield. Heavy touch for McInerney. Hudson plays it square. Up the line from Smith to Octavio Rivero. Is there to be one more statistic in this game as Rivero plays it wide to Smith? No, there won't. as Mr. Salazar sounds the final whistle, and on the Wednesday night doubleheader second game, it's the Portland Timbers 0, Whitecaps FC 2. David Norman.
Well, very, very large amounts of positiveness for the Whitecaps there. I think when you look at the play of some of the senior players tonight and how involved they were. Teixeira was fantastic when he came on. Rivero, Perez, Bolaños, and of course Pedro Morales. And then you look at the contribution from some of the youngsters that came in. One I have to point out is for me, Keons Froese, who may be man of the match tonight, him or Timmy Parker, who both went the distance, both fantastic. And then you get the really young youngsters in and get them some minutes and get them some games in and around the first team. So I think really when you look at the exercise for the Caps tonight in preseason with only one game left, probably couldn't have gone any better.
They have Minnesota on Saturday afternoon, but for now it's a night of recovery and rest, training on Friday. We thank you for watching on www.whitecapsfc.com, and also to our wonderful crew here in Portland for doing such great work. And if you're listening to us on the radio, a brief recap coming up next. Whitecaps preseason soccer brought to you by Bell on TSN 1040.
It all comes down to this click.
Here we go.
The reason you collect travel rewards card points.
Barra.
Break dates, selected the direct flights.
B-A-R-R-A, but said Barra.
Family getaway hinges on this completely, unnecessarily dramatic click.
Take the suspense out of...
He had moved those pallets a day earlier with another company for almost $5,000.
That's a huge difference.
He's been a client ever since, and we've been able to save him money time and time again.
Need to ship freight? Leave the logistics to C&D Logistics. Visit cdlogistics.ca.
At Martin Insurance, they do two things really well: business insurance and home insurance. And for almost 9 decades, a broad range of clients have continued to trust and